Hello, this is Bob Proctor. Welcome to the second power principle from the Winner's Choice series. Only those individuals who have become responsible will enjoy the new frontier which life offers. The winner's choice is always to reach out above and beyond. The bright new horizon provides the winner with motivation to meet and greet each new challenge in a responsible manner.
Reach for the future, let go of today. Tomorrow will bring a new dawn. Take to the challenge your own special way. When you reach out above and beyond. Above and beyond.
Your future can be everything you have ever dreamed about and then some. You have the talent and the tools to experience one beautiful day after another. That is, in fact, what the architect of the universe had in mind for you when you were created. If that were not so, you would have never been endowed with such awesome powers. You are above all other forms of creation. Your greatest power is your ability to choose. In Bell van der Waals' classic personal development program, You Are Born to Choose, he wrote, "When a person takes responsibility for their life and the results they are obtaining, they will cease to blame others as the cause of their results. Since you cannot change other people, blame is inappropriate. Blaming others causes a person to remain bound in a prison of their own making. When you take responsibility, blame is eliminated and you are free to grow." The second power principle is, of course, responsibility. This is a wonderful lesson. This power principle has the potential to impact your life to an incredible degree. More friends, more money, improved health. Properly utilized, it will definitely improve your self-image and literally compound your self-respect. When you speak of responsibility, you're talking about freedom. Freedom is something many people take for granted. Have you ever considered what it would be like to lose your freedom? To have your freedom taken away from you, literally? There are a number of people who have found themselves in that situation, and believe me, they are not happy campers. The inside of a federal penitentiary is not a pleasant place for anyone to be, even those who are employed there. I can speak about this with some conviction based on personal experience. That is where you could have found me one Saturday every month for almost 5 years. I want to make it perfectly clear that I was fortunate enough to be there by invitation. I could come and go at will. I did not have to be there. I would hold a meeting and speak to anyone who would listen about the tremendous potential we all have to literally create the kind of life we want. Although a number of years have passed since my last visit, I clearly remember the feeling I experienced every time I walked back into freedom, knowing those I had just been with were being locked back in their small cell. The sound of those enormous steel doors banging closed behind me left a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. The drive home was always quiet. I couldn't seem to get those people and their situation out of my mind. I truly felt sorry for them, even though I was well aware they had caused their own predicament. Every one of them wanted freedom. In fact, all that most of them ever thought about or talked about was the day they would be released. And for some, that day was years away. I'm actually grateful today for the experience of those Saturdays. They made me treasure the freedom that most of us take for granted. I'm also thankful because some of the people who are in those meetings are my friends today, good friends, and they're living useful, productive lives. They got the message. They learned that they were responsible for how they felt, the results they were getting, and the direction in which they were moving in their life. There are many people who have never seen the inside or even the outside of a federal prison who are not free. They are prisoners to a false belief. Theirs is a mental prison, certainly different in many respects from the ones I was just referring to, but a prison nevertheless. Their movement, possessions, and accomplishments are restricted. They are not able to go where their heart would lead them. Their frustration is endless, and the punishment severe. And since the cause of their confinement is ignorance, they might never be free. In many ways, a mental prison is a much worse place to live than a federal prison. Mental torment can destroy just about everything that is necessary for a meaningful life. A person living in a mental prison cannot earn anyone's respect, not even their own. They have no self-respect. It will destroy confidence, self-images become shattered, and relationships fall apart. It will even cause physical health to deteriorate. If you are confined in such a mental state, understand there is a way out. Escape is encouraged and possible. Freedom is calling you. Responsibility will open the door and permit you to walk into a bright new way of life. You could be thinking, this certainly does not apply to me. Permit me to suggest that you do yourself a great favor. Invest a little time in serious introspection. Review this lesson a few times. You might even go back and review your first power principle. Most people who are mentally confined are not aware of it. You might consider what the best-selling author Vernon Howard wrote. You cannot escape from a prison if you do not know you are in one. The real truth is this: very few people have developed sufficient awareness to take complete and absolute responsibility for every aspect of their life. The men and women you probably have the greatest respect for are the ones who have accepted responsibility for every aspect of their life. These people decide how much money they will earn. If they require more money to provide for the things they want, to live the way they choose, they earn it. They will not permit another person's comments to upset them emotionally. They decide how they will feel, regardless. They make certain their work has meaning, that it is stimulating. They know that how they spend their days is important, and they absolutely refuse to be involved day after day in mundane activities. They travel to all parts of the world, expanding their mind by seeing how other cultures experience life. They have exciting, stimulating social lives by associating with other like-minded individuals. You rarely hear or see these people attempting to duck responsibility for an unfavorable result by blaming someone else. Whenever a negative circumstance appears on their horizon, they take it squarely on the chin. They are always aware that they have attracted the negative circumstance. They also know that everything happens for a reason. They learn their lesson and keep reaching out above and beyond to the new frontier, taking responsibility for what happens every step of the way. The more you listen to this lesson, the more you will be inclined to think about it, to analyze what you are hearing. The more you do that, the more enthused you will become about turning this particular power principle into a habit. When responsibility becomes a habit, every new horizon will be bright. God's gift to you is more talent and ability than you will ever use in this lifetime. Your gift to God is to develop that talent and ability. That is your responsibility. Inherent within every human lies greatness. In 1903, Wallace D. Wattles wrote a wonderful book, The Science of Being Great. In it, he said, you become great by doing little things in a great way every day. It is your responsibility to do a great job at whatever you are doing. Churchill said, responsibility is the price of greatness. What many people do not understand, unfortunately, is that every time we duck responsibility, what we are very likely dodging is success. We might easily dodge our responsibility, but we will never dodge the consequences of dodging our responsibility. If you are like most people, you could be thinking, this makes sense, but where do I begin? The answer is right where you are. This is the moment, and now is the time to reach out where no man has gone. There is absolutely no way that you can turn back the clock to yesterday or yesteryear. All we ever have is the present, and a bright future awaits us. That is an important point of this power principle. Too often, we get caught up in the shoulda game. I should have done this, or I should have done that. Clearly understand you cannot should have done anything. Whatever you did or did not do in the past stands. It cannot be changed any more than you are able to change the time you got out of bed yesterday morning or what you had for breakfast this morning. That is, of course, assuming you had breakfast this morning. You did the only thing you could with the consciousness you had at the time. If you did not behave in the past as responsible as you now think you should have, forgive yourself and get on with your life. Forgiving yourself and or others is one of the great secrets of success. It is also an extremely effective healing concept. If your early education was anything like mine, you might not understand how to forgive. Where I was raised, it merely meant we don't talk about that anymore. That is not forgiving. Years ago, my good friend Leland Valvanderwall asked me if I knew what the word forgive meant. The way he asked the question left me with the feeling that I probably did not. I remained silent for a moment and then said, "Okay, Val, what does it mean?" Val replied, "Forgive means to let go of completely, abandon." I liked his definition, and it sure made sense. After years of studying the spectacular teachings of Val Vanderwall and other masters like him, I have arrived at the firm realization that until we learn how to forgive, we will not have sufficient mental confidence to live in a responsible manner. Now, that statement could have set off a series of alarms in your mind. Nevertheless, I stand by it. When a person has not learned how to forgive, it necessarily follows that they are harboring two of the most destructive emotions known, guilt and resentment. With those two related demons wandering around our mind, there will be no room for responsibility. You cannot be blaming and be responsible at the same time. Blame and responsibility are not good bed partners. They are incompatible. You may find it necessary to meditate on that particular aspect of this power principle for some time. If you do, I can assure you that the time you invest processing it will certainly not be wasted. You will see that tomorrow will bring a new dawn, and you will take to every challenge in your own special way. The very fact that you have the ability to choose your thoughts makes you unique, your way special. Consider this for a moment. It's a very strong point from the first power principle. Thought is the preamble to everything. Every result in life had its origination in thought. What do you think the odds would be of two people choosing exactly the same thoughts for any given period of time? Mentally play with that concept for a moment, and you must arrive at the conclusion you are unique. Your thoughts are your thoughts. Your life is definitely what your thoughts make of it. When a person rejects responsibility, they reject their uniqueness, and they turn all of their special powers over to other people, situations, or circumstance. They are no longer in control of their future. They will be forever wondering what tomorrow, next week, or next year has in store for them. They will be hoping something good will happen. But because of past experiences, they will very likely be expecting something they do not want to happen. Many of these misguided souls run off to fortune tellers, psychics, tarot card readers, and so on, frequently spending money they cannot afford in an attempt to get a reading on their own future. When you accept responsibility for your life and the results you get, all of that nonsense is eliminated. You are the only person in the entire world who can predict your future with any degree of accuracy. Responsibility brings with it a sure confidence that your dreams can be realized. Your plans can be carried out. Awareness of this magnificent truth is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, things that can happen in your life. It's Aladdin's lamp, a magic wand, the tooth fairy, all wrapped up in one. Verbally, make this statement. I am responsible for my life, for my feelings, and for every result I get. I'm going to say that again, and rather than just listening to me, voice the words. Say them with me. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. I am responsible for my life, for my feelings, and for every result I get. Remember, you have a choice, and you want to make sure you make wise choices. Activating your vocal cords and speaking those words will set up a vibration in your mind and body. There is real power in the spoken word. Let's say them again together one more time, and then, along with the beautiful background music, keep repeating the same words 10 more times. Speak up and put real power in your voice. Speak each word slow, but deliberately, thinking about what these words mean. As you speak these words, see yourself as a truly responsible person. Remember, once together, then 10 more times. Okay? Let's do it. I am responsible for my life, for my feelings, and for every result I get. That exercise took less than 60 seconds. By investing just 1 minute in that verbal exercise every day for the next 30 days, you will improve every aspect of your life. I know that sounds silly. Maybe it is silly, but it works. By listening to the lesson on this cassette every day for 30 days and repeating that responsibility affirmation verbally 10 times a day for a month, you will develop a super sensitive awareness. You will get to the point where the thought of blaming anyone or any circumstance for how you feel or for a particular result will set off an alarm in your mind. The very thought of blame will throw a switch in your brain, and the mental tape will begin to play. In your mind, you will hear yourself saying, I am responsible for my life, for my feelings, and for every result I get. Even though that happens, you could very easily continue feeling bad or blaming others for it. The old conditioning which controls our behavior has a strong grip on us. It takes time. It takes energy. And if your desire for the good life is not strong enough, the old conditioning will remain in control. To my way of thinking, when a person permits that to happen, they are wasting their life. The fact that you are listening to this lesson would indicate your desire is strong enough. By keeping this lesson in your automobile or another location which encourages daily listen, you will take firm control. Remember, a little progress leads to more progress. You climb every mountain one step at a time, and with every step, the view becomes more beautiful. George Bernard Shaw put it this way: people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. If we paraphrased what Shaw said, it could go something like this: losers blame. They do not know that they can control or call their own shots, write their own ticket. Winners are responsible. Blame is not a part of their life. When things are not going in the manner or direction they want, they originate new ideas and change the circumstances to conform to their plans. Take an example and apply blame versus responsibility. Let's suppose a person has been cheated out of a sum of money and they really get upset. You might hear the person in a rage say, "I will never trust another person as long as I live." In an attempt to calm the person down and possibly caution them against any foolish decisions, you might say, "Don't let it upset you. Everything will turn out all right. Besides, losing your trust over this one situation is not a wise thing to do." That advice in a situation like this could trigger a response of this nature from the majority. "What do you mean, don't get upset? Anyone would get upset if they had this happen." And of course, that is not true. There are people who are cheated out of enormous sums of money who do not get upset. They may not enjoy it, but they refuse to permit the situation to take control of their life. And as for trust, they would not quit trusting. Those who live this way are definitely in the minority. They are the winners in life. They refuse to surrender control over how they feel or the direction they are taking in their life. The winner's choice is to take responsibility for everything that happens, good, bad, or otherwise. Everything that happens is a lesson. They even see the good in every negative situation. They are the situations in life that strengthen their mind, their character. Dr. Rollo May, a distinguished psychiatrist, wrote in his book, Man's Search for Himself, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity. It requires great courage to make the winner's choice. And when you choose to make the winner's choice, you become part of the minority. It is not the popular choice. When you refuse to get emotionally upset over a particular negative situation, you are taking a responsible stance. Your head will be clear and you'll be mentally capable of responding to the situation in an appropriate manner. However, your calm, cool behavior will confuse the majority of people. They could very easily accuse you of being foolish. They will not understand why you are not upset. There are so many people on the wrong track, blaming everyone and everything for where they are. It is very easy for them to believe they are right. Conformity is an enormous problem in society. People acting like everyone else, and they don't know why. There is a lot more to this particular power principle than what may appear at first glance. You would be wise to do as I have suggested and listen to this message at least once every day for the next 30 days and complete the exercises which are recommended. By doing so, you will not only become more aware of the power you develop, by becoming more responsible, you will develop greater courage. You will also prepare yourself for the next power principle, which you're going to receive in 30 days. As you listen to this same message day after day, it would be easy to trick yourself into thinking you are hearing something today that you never heard the last time you listened. You are not hearing something you have never heard before. You are seeing something in yourself that wasn't there before. You are growing. Responsibility is beginning to play a more important role in your life. You'll remember I suggested it was Aladdin's lamp, a magic wand, the tooth fairy, all wrapped up in one. That is what this power principle is becoming to you. And right near the beginning of the lesson, I suggested when you speak of responsibility, you're talking about freedom. Well, for many people, the last point in this lesson is critical. One that will free them of unnecessary responsibility, possibly free them from an enormous weight they have been carrying for most of their life. It is the difference between being responsible for and responsible to. You are responsible for your feelings, your results, not another person's. You may be responsible to another person, but not for another person. The exception, of course, is when you choose to take on the responsibility of raising children until they reach the age of maturity. You are responsible both to and for them, at which time they must become responsible for themselves if they're going to enjoy a happy, healthy, prosperous, fulfilled life. Now, at first glance, it might be appealing to think of having another person take on our responsibilities. We could even trick ourselves into believing that we would be freer to play, to have fun, to do the things we wanted to do. Without serious thought, it would probably never enter our mind that exactly the opposite would be happening. When we permit others to take on our responsibilities, we are becoming dependent on them. They become the giver, and we become the receiver. Our well-being is dependent upon their generosity. Can you see where misunderstanding or the lack of understanding of this power principle leads? How it can cause lack, limitation, resentment, and confusion in the life of both the giver and the receiver? Nothing positive will ever come from the misuse of this power principle. When you take on the responsibility for another person's feelings, for their results, you will destroy their self-reliance and self-respect. Since the vast majority of our population knows little of their true nature or the laws governing their life, and since the majority of the population rush through life as go-getters, they will ravenously accept anything and everything and then dislike the giver for all time. They will instinctively feel that the giver was instrumental in causing them to become less able to take care of themselves. They feel under obligation to the giver, which produces a feeling of inferiority, and dislike is the natural effect. The giver, being ignorant of this principle, is naturally confused. You will hear them say, "Why do they dislike me after all I did for them?" When you take on another person's responsibility, doing for them what they should be doing for themselves, you are guilty of contributing to their weakening state. And because most people quickly shy away from responsibility, they will expect you to do more and more. There is an Italian proverb which states, "He who lets the goat be laid on his shoulders is soon after forced to carry the cow." It is your duty to help another become aware of their responsibility. When you permit another to take on your responsibility, you are placing yourself in a mental prison where lack, limitation, blame, and unhappiness must eventually prevail. Responsibility is something which should be learned at a very early age in life. Unfortunately, with many people, this has not happened. As a result, they move further and further in the direction of a welfare state of mind. You would be wise to give this power principle the time and consideration it deserves. Remember, it is the key to freedom, power, and prosperity. The winner's choice is to be responsible to others and for themselves. Responsibility is the only way to freedom and the life which is your birthright. Let's take a moment now and review the salient points in this power principle. Bring all of your attention to bear on them. Number one, the architect of the universe endowed you with awesome powers so that you could have everything you dream of and that your future would be one beautiful day after another. Two, you are above all other forms of creation. Your greatest power is your ability to choose. Three, when you take responsibility for your life, for how you feel, and for the results you are obtaining, you will cease to blame others as the cause of your results. Number four, the blame game is a dangerous game. When blame is eliminated, you are free to grow. This power principle has the potential to impact your life to an incredible degree. More friends, more money, improved health. Number five, believing other people are responsible for your results confines you to a mental prison where your movement, possessions, and accomplishments are restricted. Number six, you cannot escape from a prison if you do not know you are in one. Number seven, mental torment can destroy everything necessary for a meaningful life. Where there is an absence of responsibility, there is an absence of self-respect. Number eight, to be free, you must accept responsibility for your life, for your feelings, and for every result you get. Number nine, responsibility is the price of greatness. Number 10, you are responsible for the amount of money you earn. You are responsible for how you spend your days. You are responsible for creating a stimulating social life. Number 11, negative circumstances are learning experiences we have attracted. Number 12, you become great by doing little things in a great way every day. Number 13, what has happened, happened. You cannot change it. Number 14, forgive means to let go of completely, abandon. Number 15, learn to forgive yourself and others and get on with life. 16, you cannot harbor guilt and resentment and be responsible at the same time. 17, you are the only person in the world who can decree your future with any degree of certainty. 18, verbally repeating affirmations creates power. 19, the opposite of courage is not cowardice, it is conformity. 20, you are unique. Your way is special. 21, there is a vast difference between being responsible to and responsible for. 22, you may be responsible to another person, but not for another person. And 23, taking on responsibility for your results is the only way to freedom and to a life which is your birthright.
It's a new frontier that is dawning here. There's a bright new horizon in the sky.
If you would like information on other recorded or printed material by me, you can contact the Bob Proctor office by phoning area 416-498-6700 or faxing 416-498-4592. Commit to playing this power principle and responsibility every day for the next month, at which time we will introduce you to the third of my 12 power principles.
Reach for